Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Today we are cracking open a book that I think completely re-engineers how you look at a huge piece of the 1980s. We're looking at Geoffrey Himes' entry in the 3313 series, and it's all about Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
And juggernaut is really the only word for it. I mean, we're talking about an album that sold 18 million copies.
18 million, wow.
Yeah, and it spun off 7 top 10 singles. You literally could not turn on the radio or leave your house in 84, 85 without hearing that massive snare drum.
It was just everywhere. And I think for a lot of people, myself included, you think of this album and you picture the bandanas, the fist pumping. It feels like a victory lap.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that grabbed me about Himes' book right away is that he says it was the exact opposite. This was not a victory lap, it was a crisis.
It was a total crisis. Himes frames the entire album as this constant struggle between tragic realism and rock and roll fantasy. And to really get that, you have to forget the stadiums for a minute and go back. We have to start in late 1981.
Let's set that scene because it's so different from the image we all have. It's late 81, Bruce is 32. He's just finished the River Tour, which was, enormous.
Huge.
He's rich, he's famous. But Himes paints this picture of him all alone in a rented house in Colts Neck, New Jersey.
It's a really stark image, just rattling around this big empty house, staring at the wallpaper. And he's wrestling with what Himes calls the rock and roll promise.
Okay, so let's unpack that promise, because usually that's a Chuck Berry thing, right?
Yeah.
Get a guitar, get a fast car, and you can leave all your problems behind.
Precisely. And that was the early Springsteen mythos, think Born to Run. The whole idea was you can escape.
Right.
But by 1981, he's looking around at the people he grew up with, and he's realizing that for them, that promise was a lie. The highway just leads back to the same dead-end job.
And Himes makes it clear this wasn't just about jobs, it was generational, and this is where the shadow of Vietnam just looms over everything. I had no idea how obsessed Bruce was with the war at this time.
You really can't understand this album without Vietnam. Himes goes through Bruce's reading list from that period, and it was not light stuff. He's reading A Pocket History of the U.S. and, this is the key one, Ron Kovich's memoir, Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah, so he's trying to figure out why he got to be the rock star while guys from his neighborhood went to the jungle and came back completely broken.
And it wasn't just reading. Himes talks about this pivotal meeting Bruce had with Bobby Mueller from the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Mm-hmm.
That conversation was a huge turning point.
Okay.
Kind of shifted him from just being an observer to feeling like he had a responsibility to say something.
Which brings us right to the title track. And this was a real aha moment for me in the book. The song we know as this giant anthem, it started with the working title of just Vietnam.
And it was bleak. I mean, the original chorus wasn't Born in the USA. It was You Died in Vietnam.
Wow.
It's literally a ghost story. But Bruce felt it was too defeated. Like it was just adding to the burden of these veterans.
So he's got the idea, but he doesn't have the hook. And then I guess a little bit of luck happens.
A lot of luck. He sees a movie script sitting on his desk, sent to him by Paul Schrader, the guy who wrote Taxi Driver.
Right.
And the script was called Born in the USA. Bruce sees the title, and as he said later, he just stole it.
I love that. I'll take that. Thank you.
But Himes argues that changing the title changes everything. You Died in Vietnam is a full stop. It's over.
It's final.
But Born in the USA is, well, it's ambiguous. It's a statement. It says, I am still here. You can't ignore me. And that ambiguity is what made it a hit, but it's also what caused all the problems down the road.
And the music had to change, too. Himes describes an early demo as a Randy Newman-style boogie. I just can't even picture that.
Oh, it would have been awful. It didn't fit the anger. The breakthrough was that heavy, driving acoustic riff he found. But the real magic happened when he brought it to the E Street Band.
Because there's no arrangement, right? It was just raw.
Totally raw. It was done in 2 takes, basically improvised. Roy Bittan hears the riff and just starts playing that iconic synth line.
The one that Himes says sounds like an army brass band.
Exactly. And then Max Weinberg on the drums.
He hits the snare so hard it sounds like an artillery shell. I love that description.
It's perfect because it's not a dance beat. It's a military cadence. And that's the tension of the whole album right there. These really dark, realistic lyrics against this huge, bombastic sound.
But, if the whole album was just that, it would be exhausting.
Completely unlistenable.
Which is why Himes has a whole chapter called Laughing Thinking about the need for comedy.
Right, because tragedy without some kind of release is just depression. Comedy is how you survive.
And the best example is Glory Days. You hear it at every barbecue, but when you actually listen, it's a hilarious song. It's about being stuck at a bar listening to some guy tell the same boring stories over and over.
It's funny because it's so true. We all know that guy, but there's no judgment in it. And then you have Pink Cadillac, which has an even funnier origin story.
Oh, this is the Garden of Eden bit, right? Bruce is rewriting Genesis.
Yeah, it's this fantastic piece of satire. His logic was, Adam was not tempted by an apple. Who gives up paradise for fruit? No. Bruce decided Adam was tempted by Eve's Pink Cadillac.
My love is bigger than a Honda. It's bigger than a Subaru.
It's just brilliant. But this humor, this storytelling, it's all connected to a really serious artistic shift that was happening. Bruce started reading literary fiction, specifically Flannery O'Connor.
And Himes says this is maybe the single most important development in his writing.
I think so. Because before this, Bruce mostly wrote about himself, his feelings, his town. Flannery O'Connor taught him how to write in character, to get inside the head of a killer or a cop or just some lonely person.
And that's what gives us the Nebraska album.
Exactly. And Himes makes a crucial point here. We have to stop thinking of Nebraska and Born in the USA as opposites.
They're siblings.
They're siblings. They were written and recorded in the exact same burst of creativity. Atlantic City and Johnny 99 come from the same headspace as Glory Days.
And that's a connection most people miss. They just see the quiet folk album and the loud rock album.
But they grew in the same soil, in that same isolated house. And Himes adds another couple of influences that shaped the Born in the USA tracks. Film noir and Prince.
Prince. That one seems to come out of left field.
Does it, though? I mean, think about what was on the radio in 82, 83. Bruce wanted to make modern records. He wanted to write sexy, syncopated R&B. And that led to songs like Cover Me.
Which he originally wrote for Donna Summer.
Right. And especially I'm on Fire.
That song is so interesting in this context. Himes doesn't see it as a romance song. He sees it as a song about pure obsession.
It's 100% film noir. It's so tense and a little creepy. I Got a Bad Desire. That's not a love song. It's that literary character writing mixed with a minimalist Prince-style rhythm.
So by 82, 83, he has this mountain of songs. The acoustic stuff, the bar band stuff, the synth stuff. And this creates what Himes calls the hoarding problem.
He was just sitting on it. Over 40 completed songs. A treasure trove. And he wouldn't release the rock tracks he puts out in Nebraska, but he just keeps tinkering with the rest.
And that's where his manager, John Landau, has to step in.
Landau basically says, look, this is great, but you can't just be an acoustic folky forever. We have to release these rock songs.
And then comes that amazing story at the very end of the sessions. The album is pretty much done, and Landau says the one thing you should never say to a tired artist.
We need a single.
We need something that sounds like Now.
And Bruce just loses it.
He goes ballistic, tells Landau, I've written 70 songs, you want another one, you write it. He storms out.
And he goes back to his room, just furious. And he channels all of that frustration and rage into writing Dancing in the Dark.
Which is literally a song about being frustrated and having nothing to say.
It's the most meta hit of all time. I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. It's a song about writer's block that breaks his writer's block.
And of course it becomes his biggest single ever. It went to #2.
Only kept from #1 by Prince's When Doves Cry.
The influence comes full circle.
It does. But even then, the album wasn't finished. There was a big fight over the song No Surrender. Bruce wanted to cut it. He thought it was too nostalgic for the new, realistic stuff.
But Steve Van Zandt, his guitarist, fought for it.
He did. Van Zandt saw it as the bridge. He argued you couldn't just throw your old fans into the deep end of Nebraska's darkness. No Surrender was the link. It said, yeah, we're older, life is hard, but we still have this promise we made to each other. It let the audience come with him.
So the album is finally released in June 1984. The tour starts. And this is where the whole thing just explodes into this massive cultural event and a massive misunderstanding.
A truly great misunderstanding.
Himes describes the change in Bruce's look. He hits the gym, he's got the biceps, the bandana.
He looked like Rambo with a guitar.
Mm.
And the visuals were so powerful. The flag, the muscles, that for a lot of people, it just completely overwhelmed the lyrics.
Which brings us to the famous George Will incident.
Oh, it's the perfect story.
So George Will, the conservative columnist, goes to a concert.
Finds it too loud, stuffs cotton in his ears, and then goes and writes a column praising it. He called it a cheerful affirmation of American values.
He literally blocked out the words about dead-end towns and prisons, saw a flag, and decided it was a Reagan rally.
He projected his entire worldview onto it. And that, of course, got the attention of the Reagan campaign.
Right, Reagan is campaigning in New Jersey and drops Springsteen's name. America's future rests in the message of hope in songs of a man so many young Americans admire, New Jersey's own Bruce Springsteen.
And for Springsteen, Himes argues this was the moment everything changed.
He couldn't stay silent anymore.
No. Before that, he always let the music do the talking. But when the president tries to co-opt your work, you have to define it, or someone else will.
And he responds on stage.
Yeah.
Not with a press conference.
On stage the very next night, he introduces Johnny 99, the song about the laid-off auto worker who shoots a night clerk. And he says, I don't think the president has been listening to the Nebraska album.
It's such a direct, powerful rebuttal, using the album's sibling to explain the hit.
And this all ties back to the album cover, too.
Yeah.
The famous butt shot in front of the flag. At the time, a lot of people on the left saw it as jingoism.
But Himes says it was subversive. It's a working-class body, in jeans and a T-shirt, standing in front of the flag. It's an act of reclamation. He's trying to take the flag back for the people who felt left behind.
The cool rockin' daddy, who had nowhere left to run, so he's standing his ground.
It's just such a... So if we pull back, what is Himes's final word on why this album works so well, why it endured?
He calls it a Trojan horse record. I think that's the perfect metaphor.
Okay.
The outside is this big, shiny pop rock package. It's got the hooks, the synths, the giant drums. It invites everyone into the party. The factory worker, the college kid, George Will, with cotton in his ears.
But once you get inside the horse...
Once you're inside, you realize what you're actually singing along to. You're shouting a chorus about being born in a dead man's town. You're dancing to a song about dark sexual obsession. You're absorbing the tragic realism through the rock and roll fantasy.
It proved you could be massively popular without sacrificing your depth.
Exactly. You could be on top of the world and still be a serious artist, even if a lot of people didn't listen closely enough to understand what you were really saying.
A lesson in ambiguity.
And in the power of a really, really loud snare drum.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.